Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Trevor. Really grateful to have you here today. And it's New Year's Eve, so I wanted to compile a list here for 10 fragrances that I think would be great for celebrating the new year. So I kind of wanted to reach for some fragrances that either had some boozy notes, the note of rose, because it's somewhat of a nice, dressed up, formal sort of note that I don't know, when I imagine New Year's celebrations, I kind of imagine more of a dressed up Hollywood-style cocktail party. At least that's where I'm at in my life, you know, in my age group. Not so much like the beer pong style, youthful college type parties anymore. That I don't really drink, at least not any longer. But you know, the type of party I imagine for New Year's Eve, or at least an ideal setting for me at this point in time, is something that's a little bit more dressed up, classy. So like I said, you know, boozy notes, rose, and then some barbershop fragrances, kind of leaning into more of like the lavender, fougere style green notes. So those are the three main accords that I'm looking for when I was compiling this list. So without further ado, I'm just going to get right into it. So the number 10 spot, Bentley for Men Eau de Toilette. So the intense version is a little bit more smoky and maybe not the most friendly in a indoor closed environment. That one's a little bit better for cutting through the cold. And while this one's great for a cold night out, it's a little bit more fresh, a little bit more bright, a little bit more playful. Beautiful, nice, vanillic, boozy accord though, and I think is going to be a great kind of accent to the environment, and it's a pretty classy, dressed up sort of fragrance as well. Natalie Lorson, of course, is the perfumer, so you've got a really great offering here with this one. So number 10 spot, Bentley for Men Eau de Toilette. Number 9 spot, going for a barbershop style fragrance, a little bit of that shaving cream style accord, but this one also comes with a rum note, and that's Linsumi from the house of Lalique. As you can see, about halfway through this bottle, one of my favorites, especially in the springtime, but that rum note in here makes this a little bit more playful and a little bit more nighttime daring party-esque sort of a barbershop style fragrance. So you get that classy, dressed up sort of appeal while also having that rum note at making it perfect for a cocktail party style situation in a New Year's Eve type setting. So that is the number 9 spot, Linsumi from the house of Lalique. Number 8 spot, so reaching for the first rose fragrance in the list. Like I said, rose I feel like gives itself and lends itself to more of a dressed up style occasion, more of a black tie style event, and I think that you know, you can't really go wrong with this one. It tends to grab attention, whether good or bad, but generally I find that people tend to really respond well to this fragrance, and that is Mosquitos Toy Boy. Really daring, unique, kind of niche quality in the sense that there's nothing else on the market that really smells like this. Very spicy, sort of bitter rose in some sense. Yeah, just really elegant, smooth, velvety in some sense. Perfectly accents a dressed up sort of black tie event. If I had to make like a separate list for black tie cheapies, this one would definitely be on there. You can find testers for this around the $40 range, even for the 100 ml, and some of the times the testers will come with the cap. Although I think this bottle is a little bit clunky, I think the 50 ml is perfectly fine, especially since this is more of a formal occasion style fragrance for me. But number 8 spot is going to be Mosquitos Toy Boy, first rose fragrance in the list. Number 7 spot, another barbershop style fragrance, but this one's a little bit more sweet, a little bit more of like a bad boy edge, but I think accents having it's a perfect dressed up style fragrance because of its barbershop appeal, and that's John Varvatos Vintage. So this one is pretty well known in the community, a really great cheapie. It's got a nice balsam fir note in here that kind of adds to that green barbershop appeal, and then there's some sweet tobacco in here as well. Just a beautiful, beautiful, awesome fragrance. The only downside is most of the John Varvatos fragrances have 4 to 5 hour longevity, but I think that's fine if you start the party at like 9 p.m. This is gonna run you till like 2 a.m. But yeah, it doesn't have any boozy notes, but it has somewhat of a boozy accord appeal to it as well. I think this one's going to be perfect for a celebration type of event, especially if you're a little bit more dressed up. Okay, number 6 spot. Another rose fragrance, and then while it doesn't have any boozy accords similar to the John Varvatos vintage, it does give off a little bit of a boozy vibe, the way that the sweetness and the rose and the spices in here all come together, and that is going to be Moustache Eau de Parfum from Rojas. So this one is a 75 ml bottle. You can actually still find these in the cheapy range. I think Fragrance Net has it for like $32. Fragrance X has it for like $39. The 100 mLs, for whatever reason, especially at this time of the year in the cold season, fall and winter, they spike up really big in price, but they tend to come back down in the summer. So if you wanted to get the 4.2 ounce bottle of this, you can go ahead and wait till the warm months roll back around. But 75 ml I think is going to do you justice, all things considered. So if you want to get this in the cheapy range, you can do that right now. But yeah, that, like I said, the rose really adds to the dressed up formal occasion style atmosphere, and then the benzoin and the sweet vanillic type touches in here give it a certain boozy type of feel. Really can't go wrong with this one. It's really hyped up the community. It's supposed to be a replica of, or inspired by YSL's Tuxedo. I haven't smelled that fragrance, but the vibe of Tuxedo goes perfectly well with the sort of appeal that this list is going for. So check this one out if you haven't already. Moustache Eau de Parfum from the House of Rojas. Okay, moving into the top 5. So the number 5 spot, number 5 spot, it's gonna be loud, it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be appealing towards the clubbing kind of sensibility. It's gonna be a little bit fresh. It's got a rose note in here. It's got some sweetness, and that's gonna be Versace Eros Flame. So I think this one's discontinued, but you can still find it for a good price. I would recommend picking it up if you can. It's got some really beautiful citruses in here. Kind of deviates from the original Eros because it doesn't have that mint, but there's some geranium in here, so it kind of still has that minty type of sensation and the cooling quality when you're sniffing this one in the air. But yeah, it's going to have like the loudness that you're looking for in the party scene, but it's also got some really nice, warm, spicy, fun. Flame, I think, was a good name for this one. I decided to go with this one over the regular Eros just because this is a little bit more toned down and not quite as obnoxious in like close quarters if you're going to be in an indoor environment, but it does get the job done as far as giving off that playful sort of celebratory vibe. So number 5 spot, Versace Eros Flame. Alright, number 4 spot, sticking with the boozy note profile inspiration to go with the kind of excess that's characterized by New Year's Eve parties, I'm going with Givenchy Gentleman Eau de Parfum Reserve Privé. So this is a lot of people's top releases for the year of 2022, so might as well give it an homage and celebrate it towards the end of the year here. Olivier Cresp, Natalie Lorson, so you've got some all-star perfumers behind it. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the fragrance line. You've probably tried at least one of these from the Givenchy Gentleman line. Of course, it's built around the note of iris, and this one in particular kind of straddles the line between Dior Homme Parfum and Prada L'Homme Intense. So it's got a little bit of that chocolatey, lipsticky type iris, but also a little bit of that soapy, fresh style iris. And then it's accented with some sweetness from a boozy accord in here. Beautiful fragrance, really amazing kind of wearing experience. I think will go over incredibly well at a New Year's Eve party. So Givenchy Gentleman Reserve Privé, number 3 spot. Alright, number 2 spot. This one is another barbershop style fragrance with a boozy accord, similar to the Linsumi. But this one definitely is a lot more loud, a lot more making its presence known, and a lot more sweet, and that is going to be Pasha de Cartier Eau de Parfum. So a beautiful, beautiful balsam fir in here that gives it its like barbershop green style appeal, and then a liqueur note that you know, adds to the booziness of it, and it's perfect for the cold weather. But it's not so overpowering indoors like something like Bentley for Men Intense would have been, which is why I went with the Eau de Toilette on that one. But yeah, it's incredibly classy, incredible dressed up style fragrance. It has that boozy playfulness. Just one of my favorite fragrances for the cold weather. Cuts through the cold incredibly well, but plays really nice in a indoor setting, like I said. Check this one out, Pasha de Cartier Parfum, Eau de Parfum, or no, this is a Parfum concentration, yeah. So beautiful, sweet, green barbershop with a little bit of boozy accord as well. Incredible fragrance. Okay, moving into the top two. So this one doesn't have any boozy notes in it, but the overall vibe that it gives off is a little bit of like a gin and tonic. It's like a little bit dry, a little bit cold, a little bit sharp. But it's very loud and very dressed up, in my opinion, and that is going to be Gentle Fluidity Silver from Maison Francis Kirk de Jean. So this is, like I said, it kind of replicates a bit of a gin and tonic vibe. There's some really cold, sharp juniper berries in the top, and then nice musk that sort of adds to the clean, dry, and then big projection out of this fragrance. Like I said, it characterizes like a dressed up Hollywood style cocktail party. It just gives off that type of vibe, the way that it's constructed. Even though there's not any, it's not a barbershop fragrance, and there's no boozy notes, and there's no rose in here, I decided to throw this one on the list because it is just a really beautiful, elegant, clean, also very loud and fun style fragrance. It's a little bit austere, but still fun because it has that cocktail party type of atmosphere surrounding it. So I mean, it is pretty expensive, so I would recommend, you know, maybe getting a sample for like 20 bucks if you can. That is Gentle Fluidity Silver from Maison Francis Kirk de Jean. And finally, the number one spot, my fragrance of the day today, I'm actually going to go ahead and reapply. It is Tom Ford's Boatageur. You know, barbershop style fragrance par excellence. A beautiful lavender, probably the best lavender I've ever smelled in a fragrance to date. If you don't want to fork over the like 150 bucks that this 100 ml is going for, you can also pick up Davidoff's Zeno, which is what the inspiration for this fragrance was, as far as like my knowledge reaches. I'm pretty sure that's how that went. So Davidoff Zeno, it comes really close to this. It adds like a little bit more of an added sweetness and darkness to it. There's like that one's predominantly sandalwood as opposed to lavender, but they smell very similar. So you can pick that one up for like 20 bucks and kind of get the same vibe going on. But just a classy, dressed up, sweet, beautiful, playful, but also like grown man, gentlemanly. Definitely something that's going to be making you stand out at a New Year's Eve party. It's going to have a lot of loudness and projection, and just like people are going to be looking at you like you've got your stuff together. So that's going to be Tom Ford's Boatageur, my number one for New Year's Eve. Okay, so that's closing out the new year for me. I hope you all have a great 2023. It's been a pleasure interacting with you throughout the tail end of 2022 here. Definitely looking forward to seeing you in the next one and in the coming year. So let me know if you've tried any of these, what your fragrance of the day today is for New Year's Eve, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.